Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Hello, you made it to Eugene Cannabis TV. You got your host, DanK, here this evening. We don't have any guests this evening, so you're just going to have to listen to me moaning along, but I got some good information for you and some updates on things that are happening in the reform community, the cannabis reform community. And first thing I want to tell you about is Measure 74. We got to put that right up in front on the front burner. Measure 74 is the initiative to create medical marijuana dispensaries in the state of Oregon. We have an excellent medical marijuana program in the state, but we don't have any distribution system. And the law was written that way specifically. In fact, it was said several times during the original campaign for the original medical marijuana law in Oregon that the law was written to pass, not to work. If we'd put all the details that we wanted in it, people would have picked it and nitpicked it, and then it wouldn't have passed. So the dispensary initiative is similar to that in that it's some parts of it, or might be, some people have criticized it as being very vague. But the reason it was written that way on purpose, because a lot of it is left up to the state, which will be the administrator of the program, to set the rules and how it's going to go. So it's basically written to pass, and then the state will make it work. So the dispensary initiative, the Measure 74, is important not only because it gives patients another resource for their medicine in the state, but it goes beyond that. And this is the kind of thing you won't read about in the newspaper, but from the ground level in the trenches of the movement, I can tell you that it's more than getting medicine to the patients. If we lose on Measure 74, it's going to be a major setback in the Oregon medical marijuana program for the simple reason law enforcement, who is our main enemy fighting against the Oregon medical marijuana law, if we lose on M74, it'll show that we don't have the strength, and they'll come back at us even harder. But if we win, it shows strength. It's like the Crim bill. They tried to recriminalize the possession of less than an ounce in 97. Thank you. And so we came back, basically the grassroots movement, and came up with a referendum, gathered signatures, and forced it onto the ballot, and it was voted down. So, clear example where the government's trying to do one thing and clearly didn't have support of the people, and we proved it. So, this medical marijuana initiative, the medical marijuana dispensary initiative, M74, is important for, like I said, for a couple reasons. So, and law enforcement is attacking. They are working through the Oregon Association of Police Chiefs, the Oregon Association of State Police Officers, the Oregon Association of District Attorneys, and let's see, there's a fourth one. But anyway, they get their funding from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and all these government propaganda programs. And then they spend it by sending out officers in uniform, doing presentations talking about all the abuse in the medical marijuana program and how the medical marijuana program is simply an excuse for legalization. Dispensary is simply another advancement for legalization, to advance the legalization cause. This is all claims made by law enforcement. But they ignore the fact that medical marijuana really is helping people. And of course, they come back and say, well, it's all anecdotal. Well, to me, I've always thought that anecdotal is like a polite way of saying, well, it may be all in your head, because we have no proof that it's really affecting you. And after being an activist for 14 years and working with this and working with marijuana and dealing with people that are using it for all different reasons, I can tell you that it's not all in their head. It's something to it. There's too many people that it's having the same effect to for it not to be. So, of course, the government won't allow the proper testing of it, so it kind of ties our hands on to prove that. But we all know the truth. So I like to say that the people will lead, the politicians will follow. So, and this is one of those cases where we need a lead. And so you need to register to vote for M74. Lawn signs are available. You can go to regulatemedicalmarijuana.org or yeson74.org. Either one of those websites gets information on M74. You can pick up, we have lawn signs, bumper stickers available. Go through the website, or you can send an email to DanK Bagman at EugeneCannabisTV.org, and I'll get you in touch, and we'll get you set up, because this is a fight, and we all need to get in there and do what we can to help the cause. So I wanted to talk about the Just Say No pamphlet. This is a pamphlet that I put together that there didn't seem to be a good list, I didn't think, of all the organizations that are helping medical marijuana patients. So that's part of what's in this pamphlet. It's a list of the medical marijuana support groups that are helping. These are patients helping patients. There's the Cannabis Compassion Group. That's not the Compassion Center. That's a whole different deal. It's the Cannabis Compassion. That's cannabiscompassion.org is our website. Then there's the Green Cross of Oregon. Our good friend Brenda been helping patients for many years. And we've got the Mercy Center, of course, out of Portland. Perry and Sonny and those group, they've been here on the show quite a bit. Oregon Green Free, the largest organization in the state. Patients have chapters all over, a very active chapter here in Eugene. Again, that's OregonGreenFree.net. /forums. If you go to the forums on some of these, it's an excellent resource for information. Oregon Medical Marijuana Plus is another one. It's OregonMedicalMarijuanaPlus.com, I think. It could be org. I have to look into that, but I've got com here. And of course, Voter Power. Voter Power is the organization that got our initiative in the first place for the medical marijuana, and now they're working on the dispensary measure M74 that I spoke of earlier. And by the way, a quick note about, back up a little bit on talking about the medical marijuana program. Voter Power is the group that got the medical marijuana program in the state in the first place. So I find it interesting. People sometimes will badmouth Voter Power. Oh, they just want to have a dispensary initiative so people can make money. Well, I got a news flash for you. If it wasn't for Voter Power, we wouldn't have a medical marijuana program in the state of Oregon at this point. That's the one fact that's undisputable. And so the same people now are helping get dispensaries. And so if somebody's going to make money off of it, so what? People are making money off of it now. I've always said there's big money in medical marijuana, so there's no stopping it. The thing is, let's have patients have access to their medicine. Emerald Empire Hempfest, excuse me, we're working on next year's event already. That's the third weekend in July, which will be the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th of July. We have a food vendor already, and I have a nonprofit that's made an inquiry. So it looks like vendors are starting to line up already, and we don't even have the park yet. So we won't know until after the first of the year which park we're going to be at, but probably be either Maury Jacobs or Alton Baker is our two top choices. And we need volunteers for that. You can go to the website emeraldempirehempfest.com, and there's a tab there you can click on to volunteer, download the application, mail it to us, or drop by in the meeting. There's a Yahoo group you can sign up to, the Emerald Empire Hempfest Yahoo group. Again, send an email to dankbagman at eugenecannabistv.org, and I can tell you all about everything you need to know. And the main thing is you go on the TVs, you need to turn your cell phone off. So, and I forgot once again. But another thing I want to always remind you too is that I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm making a dime off of this, but I just want people to know that if you need to transport your medicine, you need to do it in these oven bags. They're made by Reynolds. They're in the blue package, easy to find. You're in the baggies section, garbage bags and that type of thing in the grocery store. They're relatively inexpensive. I say $3 or $4 for a pack of 3, I think it is. You put your medicine, you put your herb, you put your anything that stinks inside one of these bags, give it a twist, and it won't stick up the interior of your vehicle. So I've tried it, I use them exclusively, and I just want to pass on the word for everybody's safety, because we are in a drug war. Therefore, you have to think like you're in a war, and you have to protect yourself and be thinking all the time. So it's just another way to be safe. And if you're a medical marijuana patient and you do not have a caregiver, get a hold of me also, because we have some people that like to be caregivers, and every patient should have a caregiver whether they need it or not. If you don't understand that statement, again, send me an email and I explain it to you. So thanks for coming in and dropping in on the Eugene Cannabis TV show. And stay tuned and come on back, and we'll have more information for you next time. Thank you.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Patients and activists are here at the Oregonian today to help educate the editorial board, who had an offensive and, plainly a ridiculous editorial piece denigrating medical marijuana patients and calling medical marijuana a charade. And patients and advocates are here today to help inform the Oregonian editorial board that marijuana is indeed medicine, and patients should deserve compassion and not ridicule. Initiative 28, soon to get its measure number, will help provide safe access for patients, while at the same time creating new jobs and adding additional revenue to the state's budget. And I-28 deserves to be passed. And once again, marijuana is medicine, and patients should not be ridiculed. Oregon voters have a chance to show compassion for patients, but also self-interest for the state in creating new jobs and generating additional revenue. And the Oregon editorial board simply just needs to be educated on this issue.
That have actually true.
Yeah, there are plenty of dispensaries doing excellent work, providing a range of prices, including free medicine for low-income patients. And what we have done with Initiative 28 is look at the best of the programs and the best of the dispensaries out there and copy that model. And so Initiative 28 provides for nonprofit dispensaries to produce medicine for patients. 10% of their total revenue goes to fund medical cannabis research, as well as assist low-income patients get access to medical marijuana. And so, yeah, dispensaries, plenty of them have gotten a bad name due to hearsay, due to a few bad apples spoiling the cart, but there are plenty of dispensaries doing great work, and we are confident that there will be plenty of dispensaries here in Oregon doing the same kind of great work, providing quality medicine at low cost and sometimes even free for low-income and homebound patients.
In 2000, I had a severe neck injury, and it left me with a condition called torticollis, which basically means all of the muscles in my neck are in constant spasm. And that actually causes my skull to collapse on itself and causes my jaw to also collapse. About a year and a half into that injury, my kidneys started failing because of side effects of ibuprofen and pain medication. And one day I went to see my doctor to discuss this new problem, and he asked me if I smoked pot. And I told him I didn't, and he asked me if I knew where to get some. And I asked him if I was his youngest patient, because I thought that he was trying to get me to score pot for him. I had no idea what he was talking about. So he assured me that that was not the case, but that he had 2 patients that were using cannabis as an adjunct therapy with their other medications, and they were able to cut back the amount of ibuprofen and painkillers that they were taking. And so he suggested that if I could find some, that I should try it. At the time, he said I was about 6 months away from dialysis. But the amount that I needed was much greater than what I was finding, and so people started giving me the names of their dealers. The last straw for me was one day I was sitting in a Walgreens parking lot waiting for a dealer to come and meet me, and he was late. About 2 hours had gone by, and I was just sitting in this parking lot watching people go in and out, going in and getting their prescriptions and leaving, leaving without looking over their back, without worrying about what was going to happen to them after they left. And finally, this dealer showed up 2.5 hours late, and he told me he thought I was a cop, and he wouldn't sell the marijuana to me. And so I found myself in this Walgreens parking lot, bawling my eyes out, to this skater kid, you know, and I just knew I couldn't live like that.
Do you suffer from fear of losing your election? Are you terrified that voters will discover you've done nothing to improve their lives? Maybe it's time you talk to your spin doctor about Incarcerex. In clinical trials, Incarcerex has been shown effective at reducing election-related anxieties by making voters think you're doing something about the drug problem. It's simplistic and fast-acting. If your problems continue or get worse, you can always double or triple your dose of Incarcerex. Whether it's addiction, therapeutic use, or just casual use, there's an Incarcerex plan for every American. Best of all, taxpayers, not you, will foot the bill. So talk to your spin doctor about Incarcerex today. Common side effects include loss of civil liberties, police corruption, racial injustice, increased terrorism, spread of HIV and AIDS, and violent crime. Bloated prisons are also a common side effect. Stop taking Incarcerex if bloating lasts longer than 20 years. If you're trying to balance the budget, keep families together, or protect human rights, Incarcerex may not be right for you. Do not mix Incarcerex with the Constitution or common sense. So start taking Incarcerex and keep pretending you're doing something about the drug problem.
Okay, welcome back, and we're here talking to Elvy Mussika, and we wanted to talk about the normal conference in detail. I only made it on Thursday. I didn't make it back on Friday, but I really enjoyed it, and having it in Portland was a real bonus for us living in the Northwest.
Right.
I went to one other that was in San Francisco about 3 years ago, and that was when Tommy Chong was there.
Yeah, that was very nice too.
And that was a good one, yeah. And I always thought it was funny when they cleared the auditorium halfway through Tommy Chong's movie. You never saw that in the news releases. You noticed that? They never said a word about that, but it happened. I was there.
Good, yes.
Yeah, right after.
Lit up on that was not appreciated in San Francisco. That's strange.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, Tommy Chong was there and presenting his new film, the biography of his movie career, I guess, and spoke, and after he spoke, the lights went down and they showed the film, and out halfway through the film they turned the lights back up and had to evacuate the whole auditorium because he said it was getting too smoky. From everybody started sparking up as soon as the lights went down. So he said it was too smoky and they were afraid the smoke alarms were going to go off and call the fire department. But but anyway, yeah, they were in Portland this year at the Governor Hotel, a really nice venue, and it was interesting to meet a lot of the old, people you hear about and never met. And in my case, some that I had met, it's good to see them again. But I think what I enjoyed probably the most, I believe, is I met some of the other normal chapter people from. I met some people from Tucson, Arizona, which I really enjoyed, and I used to live in Douglas, spent most of my childhood in Douglas, Arizona, so. It was nice talking to the Tucson people. And then there was a group from Texas. And I thought, wow, I mean, how Texas, imagine working on legalization in redneck Texas.
They've been trying for at least 20 years that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
They actually, in St. Marcos, they had 7 guys really working. They all made it a point to get arrested, to get the press and all that. And then one of them was running for sheriff. I never did remember if he won or not because I didn't live in Texas and keep track. But so many from Texas. And that's something I really enjoyed, was all these different people from different states, all of which have medical marijuana, and all of which have dispensaries. Guys, we got to catch up with them. You got to get out of boat. But anyway, that was kind of really neat because each one talked about the different ways they handle it in their state. And there is no doubt about that cannabis is the medicine of today. Never mind the future. It's happening now. The politicians just really need to be reminded that we don't have any opposition except from the pharmaceutical industry, the insurance companies, and most of all, a very corrupt, large industry called the prison industry, which has been built to give people a job, harassing and taking properties and and ruining people's lives. And quite a few of those people are seriously ill patients, their friends, relatives, and physicians, and we got to do away with that. There should be prisons for people who are raping and killing and hurting others, but certainly not for something that has never killed anyone.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, but more, they were showing, did you come back Saturday by any chance?
No, I was at Hempstock Saturday.
There was an incredible, one of the main reasons I went, because I really had already seen it and couldn't wait to see it again, and you need to get a hold of it and permission to put it in your show. And that is a tape that just came out called What If Cannabis Cures Cancer? What if cannabis cures cancer? And it is put out by scientists and doctors, and it really, some of my favorite people like Robert Malamud from Colorado, and Dr. Lucido, and a whole bunch of people that we all know, medical doctors, scientists, really explaining the connection between this beautiful plant and us as human beings, how much we need it to stay well, how it took care of us before we polluted the air with the prohibition that put 50,000 chemical products out there to keep the American farmer from competing at any rate with the industrial world. I mean, we're not allowed to compete with paper, with material, for building homes. We're not doing our fiber. I'm missing my hemp clothes. I'm seeing less and less of it. But again, Oregon has legalized hemp, so maybe things will begin to change. And you're using hemp for ethanol as well, right? You know, I don't know much about that. Can you talk about that? I don't
know enough to talk about it myself. I don't.
But it's exciting to know that this is happening.
Yeah, you're talking about doctors, and I was just thinking, you know who I really miss is Dr. Todd McCura.
Todd McCura.
McCura, you know how to pronounce it, yeah.
Yes.
I heard his name, but I never saw him until I went to Portland at the Cannabis Cup, and he spoke, and oh my gosh, I was blown away. This is like Dr. Welby talking about pot in working person's language and telling you why it was good. It was amazing. It was just so clear. And
he wrote a book way back in the 70s. It's like an encyclopedia all by itself, and it's all about, of course, marijuana. The other one I miss now very much, who was a member of the board of directors at Normal, was John Morgan. He did incredible work, but no one ever credited the woman doctor, whose name I don't even know, and I've been in this forever, but because, you know, women's work does not necessarily get the respect and the acknowledgement. And this is the woman that discovered the most important thing there is about the cannabis plant, and it is its interaction with our own endocannabinoid system, which is what makes it so amazing and why we can use this plant for so many things. That's why you need to see this film. You got to bring them this film to see.
Yeah, see what we can do.
It's an hour.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Excuse me. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you hear medical people talk about it, it definitely gives some validity to the whole issue.
Well, we did that with Rick Simpson last year. His cannabis and cancer thing was amazing, mind-blowing as well. But he's not a scientist, and he gets laughed at like I do. You know, we're just antidotes.
Right, Rick Simpson is he calls his the Run from the Cure.
Run from the Cure.
Which isn't that a great title? I mean, it really tells it like it is. Run from the Cure.
Well, this is the next step.
Right.
But by scientists.
Now Rick Simpson, he takes what, massive doses of tinctures, isn't it?
It's an oil that he makes.
Yeah, and it's not something you just start into. You have to work your way up to it. But he's had miraculous results from it.
Yes, and many old people that he has helped with that are now perfectly well. There's no doubt, and especially, like I said, after this next follow-up tape that I just saw, there's no doubt, but that every American should have access to marijuana. There is no doubt that you're going to live a healthier life if you smoke pot than if you don't. That's been really established. Just as we have known since the Schaefer report, they even talked about that, how Nixon gathered this bunch of very astute Republicans, and he expected to get a report to ban marijuana. And when they started it, they came back with incredible results. backing up the LaGuardia report from before, which says it is not, and I repeat, not habit forming. It is not a gateway drug. It should never have been criminalized, and he recommended it be decriminalized at that time. Nixon threw it on the garbage, and he said he was not going to give the kids who stopped this war in Vietnam the thing they loved the most. That's the reason we're all suffering today, and that needs to end. That needs to end.
Definitely, yep, definitely. Things are changing somewhat, at least. The VA now is not going to go after veterans that are on their state medical marijuana programs in their respective states. So at least that's a slight, I mean, a change for the right. Still ways to go, but at least they're not threatening to take away veterans' benefits if they fail a drug test for marijuana.
In states where it's legal.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, the Israelis have been giving it to their the choice to their armies for quite some time for stress syndrome, that they are allowed to choose marijuana as one of their medicines, and they are allowed to have it after they leave the service for sure, because they'll need it more than probably. Yeah, it's happened. The other thing that was brought up there, that is on this tape, that kind of confused me a little, is that even some of the scientists are not aware that not every country signed that hideous agreement to keep marijuana illegal. Marijuana is very legal in many Latin American countries in our hemisphere today. It is totally accepted all over Europe, in Portugal and Spain. Portugal made all drugs legal, and they haven't had any problems. They just don't have as many drunks at their games. They don't have to stop the games and take everybody to jail. So there's been a tremendous improvement in the behavior, social behavior in that country, now that marijuana is not only legal but encouraged.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hoping that we'll smarten up here. Working on it.
We have no choice.
So.
We got to catch up with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it took 40 years for women to get the right to vote. Please, let's not wait anymore. No, was it 80? 80, I think. It was
Is
such
it?
a long time.
Yeah,
It just
I know. Yeah.
makes me crazy, but we've
Time
already
flies
been
and
at
having
this.
fun. Okay, well, we got to wrap this up for the
Yeah.
evening, and appreciate having Elvy here with us again, and we're going on, and we're fighting. Elvy and I are in the trenches. We're in the
Yes.
trenches, so join us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Later.
thank you. Thank you for all your wonderful work and your
You-
programs and everything, Dan. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Thanks for being here.